Today is a very auspicious day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appearance day. Very auspicious from our perspective because he is the spiritual master of His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So let us Radha Madhava prayer. Then we will chant also today Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Girivaradhari.
Yasodanandana Radhana Ranjana.
Yasodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana.
Namuna Tera Banachari.
Yamuna Tira Manachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Sadanandana Vrajjana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana.
Yamuna Tera Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव श्रीला गिरिराज कृष्ण श्री राधा रमन जी की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर श्री गौरताई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। गंगा मई की जय। यमुना मई की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर अपीयरेंस डे महामहोत्सव की जय। श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर आविर्भाव तिथि महामहोत्सव की जय। श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर की जय। गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Okay, so thank you for joining this morning program, Bhagavatam program. Today, Ravi Prakash and Vinay Gupta, can you help me to get some books These people have no common sense. They have no sense also. Where is that Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav? So, dear devotees, today is a very auspicious day. You see, Krishna says, Eda eda hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So in that, abhyuthanam adharmasya, what is that? Eda eda hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata.
Abhyurdhanam tadatmanam srijamya.
Prajamyaham. Dharmasya, nahi, so. Paritranaya cha sadhanam, vinashaya cha dushkritanam,
Dharma samsthapanam.
sthapanarthaya sambhavami yogi yogi. So exactly similar way, when the process of parampara becomes weak, somebody very powerful needs to be here, because without parampara, Krishna consciousness would not pervade or penetrate. And that is how Krishna's special representative, they appear. They appear with a mission. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born to an illustrious father who is also an extraordinary acharya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had a different role as an acharya. And the message, unpolluted, unadulterated, and pure message that Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought from Goloka Vrindavan needed to be institutionalized, needed to be preserved by a form of legacy. And that is where his own son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he jumped into that mission and established Gaudiya Math, 64 Gaudiya Math. And that was most difficult time, because that is the time when Quit India movement was in peak. People all over India were only talking about Ajadi, 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 freedom, freedom, freedom. And most difficult time to preach. And those days, establishing Gaudiya Math, literally in every important city. I was somewhere in the recently, I'm forgetting, and I suddenly saw there is a Gaudiya Math in the middle of a forest. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established Gaudiya Math in all important places of India. He also sent his disciples to Europe to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is extraordinarily powerful. When on one hand, India was crying for Azadi, the other hand, the social strife in India was too much in terms of caste Brahmanism and caste Vaishnavism. During the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Brahmins, they said that only by birth one can become a Brahmin, and Brahmin are only the custodian of the Dharma. Although the so-called Brahmins were highly polluted, highly fallen, highly disintegrated into the wrath of Maya. Maya had completely captured these Brahmins, but then they had that aura of having strong influence over the society. The other is that Vaishnavas, there are many Vaishnava branches of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but that has also boiled down to casteism. If you are born in a specific family, Vaishnava family, then you are an acharya. So many ways there was strife in propagating the pure and unadulterated message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to deliver that message in a way that everybody can accept it, can relish it, can enjoy it, can receive it, was a very difficult task. And so the letter that Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually makes the foundation of the mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, people of this world who are proud of their own aristocratic birth cannot attain real aristocracy. What is real aristocracy? Real aristocracy is that you are an instrument of Krishna. You are able to conceive the mission of Krishna and endeavor to spread it. That is the real aristocracy, that I have a mission. I have a mission to do something for Krishna. Therefore, they attack the pure Vaishnavas, saying they have taken birth in low-class families because of the sense. And the Vaishnavas, great Vaishnavas, they were born in different castes by the Lord's arrangement. And when they spoke the pure message of Krishna, people thought they are low caste. They are of low caste. These so-called Brahmins, so-called caste Vaishnavas, the Goswamis, Mahantas. So they would say, he is just low class. His words have no value. So thus they commit offenses, because they say, even if a pure Vaishnava is there and born in a low caste family, poor family, or so forth, then they would criticize him. He is suffering because of his sin, and then he is suddenly wanting to become an acharya, some kind of byanga or kind of sarcasm they would attribute to such pure Vaishnavas, and in that process they would commit horrible sin, Vaishnava offense. The solution to this problem is to establish the order of Daivi Varnasrama Dharma, something you have started doing. Should know that to be the real service to the Vaishnavas. So Daivi Varnasrama means a Varnasrama while creating a Vaishnava community. When there is a Vaishnava community, so there will be some people who would be studying deep in Shastra, some people would earn money or raise funds to maintain such a community, and there are some people they will manage the community, and some people will render their labor. And this way, Daivi Varnasrama. In fact, literally all of the Gaudiya Math, majority of the Gaudiya Math that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established, they were established in the principle that every Gaudiya Math will have some land, and so financially it is secured. There will be some people, they will be working on the land, they will grow food from the land, and then there are some who would manage, some who would study scripture and understand it, assimilate it, and spread it. So that is how Gaudiya Math was established. In fact, I visited one Gaudiya Math in Kharagpur long back in I think 1998 or so. And I saw, I was really fascinated by the daily life there. Early morning, I stayed there. So early morning, we'll get up, there will be Mangalarti. And after Mangalarti, people will be chanting, and then some people, they will vanish. Where they vanish, you don't know. Later, I realized they went to the field, means they are growing something. And I think I went at a time when there was paddy yield. So they would cut the paddy, bring it, and then they would process it inside. So everybody is busy throughout the day. You won't see them. And suddenly in the evening, everybody is together. And there is melodious kirtan. And particularly Gaur Arati was very, very heart-touching. And so it was really, really very, very. So they don't have big visitor. They have only inmates around 30, 40. And they had a lifestyle that is completely Krishna-centered. And they were fully engaged. There is no prajalpa, nothing. And so it was very, very amazing. So this is what is Daivi Varnasrama. We are also trying in Bhaktivedanta Gurukula the similar thing, that we have organic farm there, we grow food there, we have Gaushala, and we have a school. So everybody can be engaged. There will be, the managers are necessary, educators are necessary. So all round. So this is called by the Devi Varnasrama. So because pure devotional conclusion are not being preached, all kinds of superstitions and bad concepts are being called devotion by Sasido Sapradaya, Sahajiya, and Ativari. It is always cross these anti-devotional concepts by preaching pure devotional conclusion and by setting an example through your personal conduct. So basically, when people don't practice very strongly, then they inherit superstition. On the Saturday, you should not cut your nail. On Thursday, you should not cut your hair. All kind of things would come. On this particular day, you should not go out. In Krishna consciousness, we reject all such stupid beliefs that you need a time for Krishna's service, whatever is necessary, just do it. Okay? So there are so many things that would come creep in when you don't really practice Krishna consciousness and preach it to people. When you are preaching Krishna consciousness, every day you face with challenge. You face with some kind of material problem, spiritual problem, all kind of problem you would face, and you would deal with it. And you seek the mercy of Krishna for that. And you learn how to depend on it. As you expand the family of Krishna, there is a bigger responsibility you are accepting. And all those who are with you, they are also accepting a bigger responsibility. So this is how we should preach Krishna consciousness. Please make great effort so you can start parikrama of Sridham Navadip as soon as possible. It is by those actions that everyone in this world will receive Krishna Bhakti, devotional love for the Lord. Please try very hard to make sure that the service to Sri Mayapur will become a permanent thing and will become brighter and brighter every day. The real service to Sri Mayapur can be done by acquiring printing presses, distributing devotional books, and Sankirtana preaching. Please do not neglect to serve Sri Mayapur or to preach for the sake of your own reclusive bhajan. So basically, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is instructing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. One great Acharya is instructing another great Acharya that every day, every year, there should be you should conduct Navadip Mandal Parikrama. You should print books and distribute books, right? And develop Mayapur. So, because Mayapur is the heart of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Any one of you, if you have not visited Mayapur, you must visit Mayapur, because Mayapur is the heart. In those days, 93, 94, I visited Mayapur for the first time, 94. And from 94 to 98, every time I used to go to Mayapur, it's kind of, you feel like you are in your eternal place. Those are the days, very, very, because Mayapur was just like a village. Now it is becoming much more noisy, crowdy, but those days it was just, there is a serenity in the atmosphere. But more important, in Mayapur, you feel the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all our great acharyas. So everybody, and Mayapur is our home. We must feel connected to Mayapur. When I am not present anymore, please take great care to serve Sri Mayapur Dham, which is so dear to you. This is my special instruction to you. People who are like animals can never attain devotion. Therefore, never take their suggestion, but do not let them know this directly or indirectly. When we see people, those who have other ism or other interest, we don't have to tell them that you have a wrong interest, because then they would be agitated. So we just have to learn how to avoid them, how to minimize our interaction with them, and we continue our preaching of devotional service. I had a special desire to preach the significance of such books as Srimad Bhagavatam, Satsandarbha, Vedanta Darshan. You have to accept that responsibility. Sri Mayapur will prosper if you establish an educational institution there. Never make any effort to collect knowledge or money for your own enjoyment. Only to serve the Lord will you collect these things. Never engage in bad association, either for money or for self-interest. So basically, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is giving the core principle how to preach Krishna consciousness. To preach Krishna consciousness, education must be the engine. Okay. In Learn Gita, Live Gita, we made a video of Bhagavad Gita, and we have also great interest, a great plan to make other videos. And more important is that wherever we start preaching, we want to give our people proper knowledge in a different way. the education must be imparted such that our preaching movement is education driven. It is not sentimental. And without education, when Krishna consciousness is preached, people would try to pollute the process. So that's why education is so important. Anyhow, so this is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur getting instruction from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then he would follow. One of the interesting aspects of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 10 sons, and each one of them, they called Bhaktivinoda Thakur as Papa or Father. Whereas Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur from very childhood considered his father as Gurudev. He always addressed him as Guru Maharaj. So this is the distinction between Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and his brothers. So this is that we have to realize that how an Acharya treats another Acharya. Because Sri Guru and his grace is necessary to become an instrument in the hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. If you really want to become instrument in the hand of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we must realize what is Sri Guru and his grace. Without that, we can never ever penetrate into the deeper realm of Krishna consciousness. One of the things that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to tell his disciples that a dead man cannot preach. A person who's living can preach. That means who is aware of himself as a servant of Krishna can only preach. A servant of Krishna can never sit idle, enjoy simply prasadam. No, a servant of Krishna is continuously serving the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so this is what, and during the time when, from every village, Toli used to come out, Inqilab Jindabad, Inqilab Jindabad. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will go with a party of puppet show, and he will demonstrate to the villagers various pastimes of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through that he would attract the attention of people to take Krishna consciousness. I think that the most difficult, actually, if you see, preaching Krishna consciousness is easiest now, because you don't have such illusion that we need now freedom, or you don't have those social strife where Brahmins really were torturing the other sections of the society. Or this is not the time when caste Goswamis have become less powerful. They have become literally dysfunctional. And this is the time anybody who has attachment to chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, can go and preach Krishna consciousness. You just have to have your attachment to chanting Krishna's name. You should chant more than minimum 16 rounds. You should be always in the mood to perform Sankirtan, always in the mood to remain within the vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Whatever may be our background, doesn't matter. If that is there, anyone can go out and preach, and you will find suddenly a Krishna's family around you. And this is what is very, very important to recognize. Okay, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as he started preaching, many particularly local Brahmin Bengalis, very qualified Brahmin Bengalis, they all became his disciple. They recognized that here is an Acharya. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would send everyone. I remember one of his disciples is Bhakti Rakhyaka Sridhar Maharaj. And this Bhakti Rakhyaka Sridhar Maharaj, before he came to the ashram of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his wife has just died. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples, when they found that he is scholarly, he can understand things very nicely explained, and then they realized that he is also has become widowed. He said, "Ari, you are a natural brahmachari now. Natural brahmachari now. Just give your life to Krishna." And I remember this person, he would sent by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to different Maharajas those days. In India, there were hundreds of Maharaja. And one such Maharaja was Krishna Deva Roy. He is the Maharaja of Jaipur. Jaipur is a city or a small town in Koraput, is southern Odisha. And I was amazed, many times recently I have gone to Jaipur, and I found that although Bhaktisiddhanta Sridhar Maharaj was sent by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to establish something there, it seems that the Maharaj gave some property, the same property I think they used in Visakhapatnam. In Visakhapatnam, if I'm not wrong, the Visakhapatnam property probably was belonging to Maharaj. I'm not very sure. But that is how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would send his disciples to very influential people to collect land, and build the mutt. One of the very significant contribution of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is institutionalizing Krishna consciousness. What is the meaning of institutionalizing? Because earlier time, one becomes a guru and he has some disciples, and once the guru is left, that branch becomes very, very weak. By institutionalizing, you give importance to the institute, that even if guru come and go, institute is made potent by strict rules, creating strong system, and institute can handle many preachers, many gurus, and this is what is institution. And this is what the idea of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and that was further taken forward by Srila Prabhupada. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is one of the manjaris in the Krishna's eternal pastime. And he always took shelter of Rupa Manjari. Sri Rupa is our head, our Gaudiya Sampradaya. The way we practice bhakti has been written by the basic Bible of bhakti is given to us by Rupa Goswami, and particularly Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And so we will read Sri Rupa Manjari Pada now. Just to remember, in fact, before Bhakti, okay, so I hope can you I'm not getting Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Oh, Bengali जा रहा है. Yes. Okay, so I got it.
I have shared.
What is this, Rupa?
Sir, I have shared.
Okay. So all of you can see that, and let's sing. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada Sai Moro Sampada.
Say Mora Sampada.
Sai Mora Bhajan Pujana.
Say Mora Bhajan Pujana.
Sai Mora Pranadhana. Sai Mora Avarana.
Say Mora Pranadhana. Say Mora Bharana.
Say Mora Jivanera Jivana.
Say Mora Jivanera Jivana.
Say Mora Rasanidhi. Say Mora Vanchasiddhi.
Say Mora Rasanidhi. Say Mora Vanchasiddhi.
Say Mora Vedera Dharama.
Say Mora Vijayadarama.
Sai Brata Sai Tapa. Sai Mora Mantra Japa.
Say Brata Say Tapa. Say Mora Mantra Japa.
Sai Mora Dharma Karama.
Say Mora Dharma Karma.
Anukula Have Vidhi. Sapade Hoi Besidi.
Anukula Havevedi. Say Pada Hoi Besedi.
Irakibo Edoi Nayane.
Nirake bo ei duye nae.
Rupa madhuri rasi prana ko balaya sasi
रूप माधुरी रसी प्रण कोवल ससी
Apolita bhave nisidine
प्रफुल्लिता है बनिसिदीनी
Hua darsanaye Karale jarala dehi
त्वदर्शने गरल जरलो देहि
Virodina tapita jivana
विरोधिना तपित जीवना
Koro daya Deho more podo chaya
आहारूप करो दोया देहो मोरे पद छाया
Aratama loilo sarana
नरोत्तमा लहलो सराना
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
So dear devotees, this is one of the favorite song of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Let us put some biography in the perspective. You can hear, I'll just read for extempore 10 minutes. Divinity can be seen by its own light. The transcendental life of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur can be known to us only by his own causeless mercy. For such is the nature of Supreme Lord and his representative, who come to this world. Srila Prabhupada was an infinite ocean of divine treasure. If we are fortunate enough, just like we call Srila S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami as Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples also called him as Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was an infinite ocean of divine treasure. If you are fortunate enough, perhaps we can touch the waves of that ocean as they lap the shore of our mortal plane. Within that ocean are his innumerable transcendental qualities such as scholarship, genius, spiritual realization, humility, magnanimity, compassion, mercy, and divine love, to name only a few. The essence of Srila Prabhupada's life cannot be revealed in many volumes, let alone a single chapter. They are merely a catalogue of facts and figures. It takes the dedication of a lifetime to attain true glimpse of his message, and his life is his message. His life is his message. The way he led his life is the message. We are about to stand in front of a divine personality. We are about to catch sight of that reality, which is eternal and infinite. Yet in our meeting with eternal, we have to retrace the footstep of time because we must begin somewhere. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made his appearance in Sridham Purushottam Khetra, Jagannath Puri, Sri Khetra, in the state of Odisha at 3:30 in the afternoon on Friday, the 6th of February, 1874. Today is that tithi. He was born in his family home, which was next to the holy site called Narayana Chatta of Sri Jagannath Temple, and which always reverberated with the chanting of the holy name. The same place where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared has become now a mutt, Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt. That was the official residence of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as the district magistrate of Puri. He was the fourth son of his Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srimati Bhagavati Devi. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur firmly established the concept of pure Vaishnavism in the heart of many educated and spiritually inquisitive people of Bengal in the latter part of 19th century. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a beautiful child with all the bodily symptoms of a great personality that are described in the scripture. Everyone was amazed to see that the child was born with his umbilical cord wrapped around his neck like a Brahmana's sacred thread. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur named his son Bimala Prasad, meaning the mercy of the transcendental potency of Lord Jagannath, Srimati Bimala Devi. When Lord Jagannath is offered of bhoga, that bhoga first comes to Bimala Devi. When Sri Bimala Prasad was 6 months old, Lord Jagannath's annual chariot festival took place. That year, the chariot stopped in front of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house and could not be budged an inch for 3 days. That means you can see this is the February, 6th February, and around June is the Rath Yatra. So March, April, May, June. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was only 4 months old when Jagannath Rath Yatra happened. So when he was only 4 months old, that time Jagannath cart stopped near the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In spite of all attempts, making use of elephants, all the soldiers of the king, all government efforts, the chariot could not move. Although Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself was the chief of the temple management. So while Jagannath stayed in front of the house, Kirtan was continuously performed there under the leadership of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. On one of these days, Srila Bimala Prasad, in his mother's arms, went to see Lord Jagannath and extended his hands towards the deity as if to offer his obeisances. So Bimala Devi being, Bhagavati Devi, the wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, being the wife of great district magistrate, she had a special permission to go up on the cart and reach in front of Lord Jagannath and placed her son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in front of Lord Jagannath. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is a small baby, showed his hand towards Lord Jagannath, seeking his special favor. And Jagannath indeed reciprocated by giving a garland on the hand of this tiny baby, which is only 4 to 5 months old, that is Vimala Prasad Datta. At that moment, a garland fell from the neck of Lord Jagannath and encircled the child. The crowd was jubilant, witnessing Lord Jagannath's blessings on the child. Amid the tumultuous sound of Haribol, Bhaktivinoda Thakur fed Vimala Prasad some of Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasad and thus observed child's Arna Prashanna ceremony under the most auspicious circumstances. And as soon as this happened, the chariot moved forward. So the significance of this pastime, one can say that Lord Jagannath stopped there to tell or inform us that here is his empowered incarnation, Satyavasa incarnation, to fulfill the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Vimala Prasad lived in Jagannath Dham for 10 months with his mother. Then they traveled to Bengal and resided first at Ranaghat, then at Srirampur. Once when Srila Vimala Prasad was a small boy, he took a mango without first offering it to the Lord. Because if I read it will take some time, much time. So he took a mango and he was chastised by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And normally when you are a small child and you are chastised by your parents, you don't accept it very nicely, right? But here, Vimala Prasad, he realized that he's a sinful fellow. And he took a vow, which is a small child. Have you ever seen? We even don't realize the meaning of vow after the age of 50. What to speak of age of 4. So at the age of 4, he took a vow that throughout his life, he will never accept mango, even if offered to Jagannath. So this is the commitment of an Acharya. Acharya shows the commitment to Krishna consciousness from early childhood. There are so many things we can talk about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Very quickly, let me see, when Sri Vimala Prasad was in 5th grade, he invented a new method of shorthand, which he called Bikanto or Bikruniti. His teachers were always amazed by his mastery of Bengali and Sanskrit, his extraordinary intelligence and memory, his pure moral and devotional nature. In fact, not only he was master of Bengali, Sanskrit, English, when the Englishman would come and would converse with him, they would have to have a dictionary because they could not figure out many of the vocabularies that would be uttered by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Any language you want to learn, the most important thing is to learn vocabulary, Sabda Parichaya. And he had mastery of vocabulary, be it Bengali, be it Sanskrit, be it English. At this time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him Sri Chaitanya Sikhyamrita to read. Sri Vimala Prasad also displayed extraordinary ability in mathematics and astrology. He studied astrology under the tutelage of famous astrologer Mahesh Chandra Chudamani and impressed his teacher with his mastery of the subject and his exceptional talent. He also studied astrology with Pandit Sundarlal. Seeing his scholarship in many different subjects, including the scriptures, his teachers named him Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, master of scriptural conclusion. When Srila Saraswati Thakur was a student in the 7th grade in Srirampur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him Harinam Dikhya on Tulasi Mala as well as Narasingha mantra. So when he was 7th grade means looks like 11 to 12-year-old, and he was given Harinam initiation by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would take second initiation, Gayatri Dikhya, from Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. So you can see here another aspect of a great Acharya. Although he was so erudite, he was so scholastic, but he accepted Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj as his spiritual master because he was not captivated by Maya. He saw in Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj a pure attachment for the chanting of the holy name. And that is how, in fact, Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj would never agree to give initiation to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur because he always felt he's too big to fit in his shoe. He is such a scholastic person. He's being so adored in every place. And so he would not agree to give him initiation. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would take a vow. If he doesn't get initiation from Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, then he would end his life. And that is how he melted the heart of Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj and took initiation. So please, my dear friends, see the ways of great Acharya. In 1885, Bhaktivinoda Thakur founded Vaishnava Depository, a press which was housed in his own home. Srila Saraswati Thakur learned about the printing press and began assisting his father in proofreading. In fact, from the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur until Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then the BBT Trust. You see, this is a sublime journey. From the printing press and the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur to the printing press of Gaudiya Math to Bhaktivedanta Book Trust established by Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is a pure sublime journey in propagating the message of Krishna consciousness through books. Srila Saraswati Thakur was not interested in associating with other boys of his age unless they were interested in spiritual matters. His two favorite books were Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. You know why? Because that is what his spiritual master taught. His spiritual master, Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, would say, it takes only 2 anna to become a pure devotee. And you would be surprised why 2 anna to become a pure devotee. And then he would say, you pay 1 anna, you get prarthana that time. Anna means 16 anna used to be 1 rupee. 16 anna used to be 1 rupee. I don't know how many of you even know this conversation. In my time, the 25 paisa used to be called 4 anna. Okay, so so this 2 anna, in 1 anna you get prarthana, the other anna you get Prema Bhakti Chandrika. And Srila Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj would tell that if you know these 2 books, you know everything about Gaudiya Vaishnavism. As a young boy, he published books on astrology, such as Surya Siddhanta and Bhakti Bhavana Panjika. In the afternoon, he spent hours debating about religion and philosophy with other students in Kolkata, Bidon Square. Later, while still a teenager, he founded the August Assembly. All members of the assembly had to take a vow of lifelong celibacy. Many educated people, both young and old, took part in the assembly. So this is how we should, in Krishna consciousness, celibacy plays foremost role. Whether Grihastha or Brahmachari, Sannyasi, Vanaprastha, we must make a vow to celibacy. I think I should stop here. It's already 8:34. I have to do Abhishekam. Thank you for hearing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Today is very auspicious day. I have given some, how can we do any justice to speak about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in just an hour or so. So, but anyway, we should meditate on his message, his books. Every article I read is just fabulous. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Maybe sometime we can, today, if time permits, sometime we can read one of his articles and release, because a great person is known by his writings. Hare Krishna. Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Avirbhav Tithi Maha Mahotsav ki. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. Lila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Pramanande. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.